Now I'm ready to focus. So, should I just attack that knight? I guess I'm gonna do that. Make him just run his knight around. That could be good. Is there a free juicer? I mean, yeah. If that's just sitting there, he's not going anywhere. Well, I guess now he's gone somewhere. Um, let's bring this knight out, protect the pawn again. I mean, that is the whole idea of the queen's gambit, is that pawn is unsafe out there. Except that's literally how dumb I am. I thought the knight protected the pawn. That's like how bad I am at chess. Yeah, I'll definitely take that. Yeah, I thought the knight was protecting that pawn. That's crazy. Excuse me. Okay. So, well, that bishop's gone already, so we're actually happy to get that back over there. Should we just castle? Let's just castle. I'm happy to move that pawn back over. You're thinking bishop d2? Yeah, I'll definitely take suggestions. Try to get them in here in a timely manner, though. That way I can at least see them. Let me open up this, too. See, that was not what I was expecting him to take with. But that's fine. We can just move the rook. I mean, we just have to move the rook. We don't really have much of a choice. But that's still going to be good. Why is that fine? Well, what else am I going to do? I mean, it's not horrible. I'm only down one pawn. And I had to do something. What's up, Fountain Dunk? Um. So what then? Is there anything I need to do? Well, I don't need to add new people, but I'll challenge people after the game. Just send me a challenge right after the game's over. And we can definitely get on that. And I thought the chat was working on here, but it does not seem to be working. I wonder if it's because I turned everything off. Oh, well, I need to move anyway. Right. So what do you think? You're thinking a3, bishop d2. So he's going to move his queen down and take your pawn. Well, my bishop is already there protecting that. Queen up 3, then move the knight. Bishop d2. I'm seeing a lot of bishop d2s. I don't hate bishop d2. I don't hate bishop d2 at all. So then what? Shoot, hang on. There it is. And let's just do all that. Did he move yet? He's still thinking? Alright, good, because I'm still working on stuff over here. I still feel like it doesn't work, though. He castled. Okay, so what are we thinking now? Queen b3, bishop d3. Wait, what? Queen b3? Oh, queen b3 ain't bad. Because if I go queen b3... Yeah, I like queen b3, okay. I think this website that used to make the sounds just doesn't work anymore. It was working so effectively, and now it's changed how it looks, and it doesn't seem to work anymore. That's unfortunate. Whoa. Will I just leave that for now? Yo, why was that good? Yeah. Why was that good? I can take with the knight, but I still lose the knight. Because the queen comes in. And I can't do b7 anymore either. I was looking at b7, but the bishop is there. Well, I'm going to do that. That'll lose the knight, but then his queen is at least over here. And then what can I do? Yo, don't tell me what I should have done. Tell me what I should do now. Although this is a rated game, so I shouldn't really actually be taking too much advice here. So that pawn's being attacked. I don't have good protection for it. And then it all gets out too. Let's try that. I don't think that's horrible. Best move is to end everything. I'm not that behind. So yeah, I saw that. So now everything seems decently protected. I could attack the queen again. And then he goes back. Can I put the queen here? You won't let me back rank him, right? Was that horrible? That wasn't that much of a blunder. That's not a hanging rook. That's not a hanging rook. Now it might be a hanging rook. That was a good move. Shoot, let's back it up some more. But he's just going to give himself an escape square, so that's not even going to end up working anyway. We got that back rank mate, though. Don't focus too much on the queen. I know, but now I lost my bishop. Oh, well, that's too late. I know I had back rank mate, but he changed it with the knight. If he wouldn't have moved that knight, then I would have. So what do we look at now? What do we think? I had back rank mate if he didn't do anything about it. That was the deal. Yo, PewDiePie sent me corn. That's exciting. Thank you. How are you gonna tell me to forfeit when I'm only 6 points of material down? That would be nuts. Although I did almost just back rank my mate myself. Let's go here. Although that's silly because I just moved it there last time. I could have just moved it all the way over last time. Yeah, that's silly. Yeah, definitely messed up here. Definitely messed up here. But there's still potential is the thing. There's still a lot of potential. For both of us. I definitely don't think I should resign. I still think there's lots of possibilities of me winning. Lots of possibilities. I mean, look how hard he has to think about it. Yeah, he got to finish me off. If he wants to win, he's got to earn it. We're not handing out wins over here. I really want to get my bishop to c2. But that's like such a waste of time. But I have nothing else. If I'm going to get anything, that's the only way I'm going to get anything. He doesn't seem to have a whole lot. His knight's pinned. If he moves his knight, I just win. That doesn't give him the out that he's looking for. What it does is pushing that pawn. That's what he, I think, has to do. And if he doesn't, it could get pretty good here. Well, maybe not that good. Yeah, you can push that pawn too. Ooh, fascinating. So... Oh, well, now this pawn's unprotected. And that rook's not really doing anything where he is. So I can just take that pawn. But that other pawn is protected by the rook, by the queen. So I gotta be careful with that. Oh, and that rook's protected by the queen. Oh. Ooh. So now... Well, that's the only good potential thing that could even possibly happen here. I'm still taken because I got my rook there. So that's definitely what we want to do. And now we're even in material. And see, that is why you don't resign. Because now we're even in material. And we got his bishop pinned. He is attacking my rook there. Actually, how long has he been attacking my rook? He attacked it there. Oh, and then we just had him in danger the whole time. So now we have to move the rook. And where could we move the rook? Well, do we have to move the rook? Yeah, we have to move the rook. So let's just move it back here for now. I mean, that's safe, right? I got the bishop, but what am I going to do with the bishop? I had to protect that rook. Oh, well, now he's going to go. He's just going to go right there. Yeah, oh, that was trash. Oh, we can pin it. I'll pin it with the bishop. Okay. I'll pin it with the bishop. So now he's going to move. Oh, take the bishop. That's a good call as well. To take the bishop. Holy moly, you're right. Yeah, I just need to take the bishop. But I still saved it by pinning the knight, too. So I'm still chill with that. That's sweet. That's awesome. So, wow, now... I guess, yeah, the bishop is going to be better for me to take than the knight. Because then it takes out one of his rooks. The knight was just free, though. But that's good. Should have taken the knight first. Yeah, maybe. So what? He's got a lot of pawns left, though. But there's a decent chance he'll lose track of his knight and end up losing it somehow. But I just got to make sure I don't lose my pieces. So, well, that's a trade. I mean, that's protected right now, I suppose. So, I'll just go here. I mean, if he wants to trade off his knight, we can trade off the knight. Yeah, I just got to keep the rook around. So then I could bring her here. And then I'll end up being able to take that pawn. And he'll probably end up double pushing it. But he won't be able to attack my rook where I'm going. So that'll be okay. Hang on. I need to be able to look up here. Alright. Oh, I don't even know if I can handle looking at it like that. On my computer, it's all stretched out. Huh. That's not horrible, is it? He can come back and attack my bishop and my pawn at the same time. But I got my rook there. So if I take his pawn, now my bishop is protected. And now my pawn's protected. My bishop is protected by the pawn. So that seems to be all hunky-dory. So we gotta be moving the bishop next. And what could we do? We could just go there. That might lose that back pawn. So then we gotta be worried about those pawns. Yeah, we gotta be worried about those pawns. That actually should be high priority here. Yeah, I guess there wasn't much of a point to that. Yeah, I'll bring her back here. So I'm attacking that pawn. If he pushes the pawn, yeah, he pushed the pawn. I'm gonna sack the bishop. I'm gonna sack the bishop. So those pawns are gone. Those pawns are no longer a threat. End up by taking my pawn. Okay. Now we try to do some other stuff. Okay. I think that was good. Just lost? What? I'm still up in material. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I'm not even that down much from where I was before. Let's go here. I had the knight trapped. Well, I wasn't gonna notice that. Oh. Maybe I just need to chase around this knight. If I just chase around that knight, is he gonna come at me on the other side? And then how am I gonna not get forked? For one, I gotta make sure I don't get forked. We'll check him. And then... Can I check him? And I gotta make sure I don't get forked. So if I go there... Well, that's not really a fork because the pawn. He can attack it, but I'll just take the pawn. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. He sort of has to protect the pawn. But there's really no way he can protect the pawn. Stay on an opposite color. I should stay on the same color as the knight, right? Or stay on the opposite color so he can't attack me. Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah. So what is he going to do now? He can't push that pawn. I'm attacking the pawn. Oh, yeah, you can just defend it. Sheesh. Of course. So... Should I just trade off some pawns? Or is that actually no good? Because if I push the pawn, he'll take, and he'll take. That's why I'd rather have my rook there. And I guess I can do that, because if I do something like that, he's got to move his knight just to protect himself. And his pawn is pinned. Wow, this is a long game. It feels like the clock has barely even moved. Okay, well now I want to go here. Yeah, I should use the king, you're right. I am not using the king at all for what I'm doing. Oh, wow. That's pretty good. So I'm going to do that. And he could attack the rook because he's diagonal next turn, but only in 2 squares. The square I just came from with the pawn and then a square out to the side. Now to the side would be useless because I could just get away from it. And then, yeah, get my king involved, pushing the king forward to protect my pawn when I push my pawn forward. Oh, except for he's taken with his pawn. But then I got my rook over there, too. Top black for checkmate? I don't even know what that means. Oh, did he go? Oh, he put me in check. Well, I'm not even worried about that, because I wanted to move anyway. He's not going to fork me, right? He could put me in check. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a move. I mean, I don't know what is happening here. Is he just wanting to repeat moves? Let's see if he does it again. And if he does, we'll do some stuff with the rook. So we'll go back down there with the king once. Because that shouldn't be repeat 3 moves. That would only be the second time that I've done that. But something tells me he's greedy. He doesn't want to repeat. He sees all his pawns barreling down. And yeah, he's ready to play on. So what could I do now? If I push the pawn, he takes with the... He's in check. And he takes with the pawn. Oh, and then I'm in check, so that's just over. That's no good. What if I just keep doing stuff with this? He can't fork me. He can't fork me with that move. He can attack me and make me move my rook. Yeah, by going there. Because I can't take it because of his pawn. But, we kind of wanted to go somewhere else anyway. Yeah, somewhere like there. He can't. I didn't even look if he can fork me there. They're just so far apart. I figured he couldn't. Yeah, this is getting tight. Wow. Um, I have no idea. Am I not winning now? I still think I'm winning. G3. G3 is sort of all I see. Yeah, but he's just going to take with the pawn. And then what's going to happen? Oh. That's why I had all those ideas about pinning the pawn. You pin the pawn and then that can't happen. So does he do something about it? Does he attack my rook now? Probably. He definitely can. Yeah. But I can just do that. And then he can attack me. But we can just keep scooting along this file until we get done what needs to be got done. So he can't attack my rook next move. Yeah, man, that is important. That's an important place for the king to be in order to mate him. Man, it's right there. He's just good at preventing it. This sucks that I can't mate him. I wonder if it's been like mate in 3 and stuff, and I've just been missing it. Probably. Because now he's going to have an escape square if I push my pawn. Well, my pawn won't be protected. Well, now we're back in a similar position as before. The pawn now would be mate. He's got his king so trapped. It's just right there. We're just waiting for a mate. It's like one move away. And boys and girls and everybody else, I think that will do it, won't it? This is mate, no? This is mate, right? G3? G3 now? Isn't this mate? I'm pretty sure this is mate. No? Is it not? No, it's not mate. You're right. Oh, ho, ho. It's not mate. You're right. Oh. But is it bad? Is it bad? It might be bad. It's not mate. Oh, that sucks. Man, I can't believe I thought that was going to be mate. If I had my king on the other side, it would be mate. Should that be what I pursue? Get my king on the other side? I can't believe I thought that was going to be mate. Thank you for telling me it wasn't going to be mate. That could have been bad. But if I had my king on the other side, that would be mate, right? Because my king would have to protect that pawn. If my king is on the other side, that would be mate. Whoops. He's been just waiting for that, too. He's been just waiting for that. Oh, my goodness. He got me hard. Brutal. Oh, no. Oh, no. Now it's lost. Now it's just so hardcore lost. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That hurt. I was watching it so hard. And then I got the one idea in my mind. And I just let it take over. Yeah, this is a resign. Right? It still hurts my soul to resign. But there's nothing here. What a crazy game. What a crazy game. My goodness. Look at that graph. We're both horrible. We're both so bad. Whew. Look at all those best moves, though. Just because there were a lot of moves. I mean, I only blundered 3 times. I only had 12 moves that weren't good. He only had 7. So, that's pretty good. I'll take that. Alright, y'all. New plan. We are going to do some math like we did last time. So, here's the plan. You probably have a better time if you just go to my YouTube channel yourself. But, oops, you gotta go to your channel. We're gonna watch like this. And I think we got the system of setting it up. So I know y'all can hear a pretty bad echo right now. But as soon as I do this, I don't think you should hear an echo anymore. And then we'll get this sideways. Oh, I totally got disconnected from live though. That's interesting. What's going on over here? Lost connection? Are you kidding me? Dang, it restarted it. No. What is even happening? What's up, y'all? I'm still getting it reset up here. Okay, so that's looking good. Here's what we wanted. We want this. So this is going to be a little bit on a delay from the reality of it. But that's cool, because that's the best we can do. So again, I'm ill-prepared in the fact that I think my pencils are dead. No, this one's not. Okay. I bet it's very close to dead. But maybe I could just do this until it's dead. Alright, so what do we need to start off with? So we did Algebra 2 last. Well, we're on Calc, so let's go ahead and do Calc. We're starting off with a word problem on Calc. I guess that's fair. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to copy. We're going to come over to here. That's what we did last night. Goodbye. Have this. So here's the deal. Here's what we do around here. So we screenshot it. We got to screenshot it better than that, though. So we screenshot it, and then we record a video of how we do this. So first we should read it. So on the Kelvin scale, absolute zero is the temperature 0 Kelvin. Although temperatures very close to 0 Kelvin have been produced in laboratories, absolute zero has never been attained because it's an asymptote. In fact, evidence suggests that absolute zero cannot be obtained. How did scientists determine that 0K is the lower limit of the temperature of matter? What is the absolute zero on the Celsius scale? This is an example? What the frick is this? This isn't a problem. That's just MIT propaganda. This isn't even a real problem. Should we still talk about it, though? What did he do? Determine. Okay. Here's what we'll do. We'll just read this example together. So this example is not a problem so much. So let's just read it together. On the Kelvin scale, absolute zero is the temperature 0 Kelvin. Although temperatures very close to 0 Kelvin have been produced in laboratories, absolute zero has never been attained. In fact, evidence suggests that absolute zero cannot be attained. How did scientists determine that 0 Kelvin is the lower limit of the temperature of matter? What is the absolute zero on the Celsius scale? Okay, well, so the absolute zero on the Celsius scale, we sort of know that. That's like negative 273 something, right? Or ish? I don't know. Well, let's see. This is more of a story. So, the determination of absolute zero stems from the work of the French physicist Jacques Charles. Charles discovered that the volume of gas at a constant pressure increases linearly with the temperature of gas. You may remember Charles' law in chemistry. I believe that's a thing. The table illustrates this relationship between volume and temperature. To generate the values in the table, 1 mole of hydrogen is held at a constant pressure of 1 atmosphere. The volume V is approximated and is measured in liters, and the temperature T is measured in degrees Celsius. Okay, so let's rethink everything that happens. So look how the temperature is getting hotter as you go to the right, and the volume is getting larger. And they're suggesting that it happens linearly. So let's see, from negative 20 to 0, so when it goes up by 20, it goes up by about 2. And you see that the next time when it goes up by 20, it goes by about 2 again. And that seems to be consistent. Okay, that's fair. So the points represented by the table are shown in figure 1.33. Oh, they give us a graph. Cool, very nice. Moreover, by using the points on the table, you can determine that T and V are related by the linear equation. So if we know they're linear, which is what Chuck told us, then we can use these points to write the equation. So we get that V equals that, and then they solve for T. Yeah, they solve for T. And so this makes sense. So they say by reasoning that the volume of the gas can approach 0, but never equal or go below 0, you can determine that the least possible temperature. Because you think, that's another thing with gas, I guess they're not talking about it here, but when gas gets cold, it compresses. So that's what they're saying, is that when they compress it to the least possible volume, that's going to be the coldest that it can be. So by reasoning that the volume of the gas can approach 0, but can never equal or go below 0, you can determine that the least possible temperature is given by the limit as V approaches 0. And see, in reality, we only care about it from the right because we're going down to 0. We're not going up to 0 from the negatives. But all the same, we just plug in 0 for the volume. You get the negative 22 over 0.08, and that's the negative 273, roughly. That is 0 on the Celsius scale. Because how they decide what 0 is on the Kelvin scale, I mean, they just made it up. They just called it 0. There's just like no energy. That's 0. But they had to convert that to the Celsius scale. And so that's what it is. And that's why when you convert from Celsius to Kelvin, you just subtract 273.15 if you want to be specific. And so that's just a good story. You can see these bros. What do? They did this work. That's the study that we just did. Was based on them. They got a lot of sig figs. Good for them. So yeah, that's just a quick little application of a limit to calculate something that's pretty important. All right, so that was a longer video. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to grab these people. Let's keep the photo credit. So if they're feeling like being rude, maybe that'll make them not be rude. And then we'll take another screenshot. All right, cool. So that's one problem. Let's go to the next problem. The next problem is the next section, right? Oh, no. Applying properties of continuity. By theorem 1.11, it follows that each of the functions below is continuous at every point on its domain. The next theorem, which is a consequence of 1.5, allows you to determine the continuity of composite functions. Ah, we were just talking about this today. Okay, so we'll just have another little perusal of this. This can be our screenshot here. I think we might have a few of these in calculus because there is just a lot of thinking. So the next example is another one that isn't really so much of a problem. It's more just kind of a demonstration of different properties. So look at these properties. So all these properties are saying is that when you combine two continuous functions in various ways, you just get another continuous function. And that's really important for when you need to know that functions are continuous. So if you're combining two continuous functions, like you're doing on these, you know that that function is also going to be continuous. Unless, of course, you're introducing a fraction. Then you're going to have all the discontinuities made by a fraction. But we should know that. Just in general, if you're doing the normal stuff like the add, subtract, the multiply, it's not going to create any problems with the continuity. The only thing that will is the division. But we already knew that anyway. And then what this is showing is that that actually works for composite functions as well. We were just talking about this in Math Lab today. So if g is continuous and f is continuous, then the composite function is continuous. That's really important to know. It's really important to be able to know if functions are continuous or not, because most really important properties of calculus and maybe of math in general only apply to continuous functions. So these rules really just tell us when we combine continuous functions, the new function is continuous. It kind of just works how we'd like it to work. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Here's the intermediate value theorem. Okay. Okay. What should we do? We can't just do 2. We gotta at least do 4. Let's do 2 algebra problems so we're on the same page. Well, let's mark where we were over here. So the next problem we had to start with is number 7. Let's look over to this next one. So absolute value. Absolute value. All right, so we're going to screenshot. Oh, that's not what we're doing. So here we're solving problems with absolute value. So first off, remember what absolute value means. It's that if it's negative, it's going to make it positive again. And if it's positive, it's going to keep it positive. So think about there's like those two different things that can happen. So how this is going to end up is that if x plus 4 equals positive 13, well, then we're going to take the absolute value of it, and it's still going to be positive 13. But also, if x plus 4 is negative 13, see what we do then. We would take the absolute value of it, and it would become the positive 13 that we want. So look at what just happened. Every time you have absolute value equations, you got to split it up into two different equations, the positive version and the negative version. And then you just solve them like normal equations. You're going to end up with two different answers. Subtract 4, not 11, but 9. Subtract 4, negative 17. You're going to get your two different answers. And then B is a similar idea, but think about to get that to work, we can't just always split it up right away. Like that whole, to have that whole idea, the absolute value had to be by itself. So we're going to do that first. We're going to subtract the 2 first to get that the absolute value of 2x minus 3 is 5. And then we're going to split it up. We're going to split it up into its positive version and its negative version. And then we're just going to solve both of those equations. We're going to add 3 and divide by 2. And then we're going to add 3 and divide by 2 and get our two answers. So that's the biggest thing with absolute value is when you split it up, you got to split it up into its two equations, the positive equation and the negative equation. All right, team, we got one more. Uno más. Before we're going to call it a night. And it's an absolute value with inequality. So here we're combining two good things. We're combining absolute values and inequalities. And really the rules from both of them are both going to apply here. So we just did absolute value. So think about what we said with absolute value. We had to split it up into its positive version and its negative version. So we're going to have its positive version over here. X is less than 4. And then we're going to have its negative version with negative 4. But then with inequalities, remember what you do when you multiply by a negative with an inequality. You have to flip the sign. So that's actually what we have to do as well. We have to flip the sign. We have to say that x is greater than negative 4. Is that right, though? X is greater than negative 4 or x is less than 4? Oh, greater than negative 4. Yeah. Wow, that was bad. Let me redo that. Okay. All right, so here we're taking two good things, we're combining them, absolute value and inequalities. So we just did inequalities. Remember what we have to do. We have to split it up into its two different versions. We've got the positive version, x is less than positive 4, and the negative version. But with inequalities, remember what you have to do with inequalities. Every time you multiply by a negative, you got to flip the sign. So instead of x being less than negative 4, we're going to have that x is bigger than negative 4. And so let's think about what that's saying. Let's kind of look at it on a number line. So if this was negative 4 on the number line, and this was 4 on the number line, see how we're looking at in between these two values. And think about how that makes sense. Because if all these numbers here, like negative 3 and negative 1 and like 2 and stuff, if you take the absolute value of those, they're all going to be less than 4, right? Because if something is like, yeah, negative 3, like just a little bigger than negative 4, you're going to take the absolute value of it, it's going to become positive, and it's going to be less than positive 4. But if you took something like negative 5 or negative 6, or positive 5 or positive 6 for that matter, you take the absolute value of that, well, it's going to be bigger than 4. So that's going to be no good. So see how, like, you can always think about it and you can lay it out just like we did here with our two separate inequalities. But often what ends up happening is if it's less than 4, you need it to like be in between these two values. And if you want it to be greater than 4, you need it to be outside of those two values. So the last thing is just how can we write our answer? So we just graphed it on a number line there. That's pretty nice. We'd want open dots technically, since it's just less than 4, not equal to 4. And then interval notation, I always think, is the premier way to write your answers to inequalities. But another great way is as an inequality itself. So you go from negative 4 is less than x, which is less than 4. And that shows in the same way that x has to be in between negative 4 and 4. All right, team, that was a good time. I think we're going to call it for tonight, though. I'm pretty tired. It's not even that late, but it's feeling pretty late. Ever thought about getting into Discord? I have a Discord. Link's in my bio. I don't use it all too much, but it's there. All right. Peace out, everybody. I appreciate you all for checking out the math. Check out the YouTube, too. The YouTube is the better place to be watching. So, all y'all on Twitch, peace out, everybody.